Cut the recording. Caldera Bay. That boy she's with got any brains? You nod. At this point, probably more than you. He probably has more brains than you. Then they're not going to Caldera Bay. He draws his attention to a pair of phones on the beds. Putting those brains to work all right. The one with the purple case hers? You nod again. He picks that one up and views at it from multiple angles. He presses a thumb against part of it, and a small compartment slides out. No SIM. If they got new phones, that's an easy trace. Paying attention? I can just see this guy waving the phone around as he says that. I know what he's like. He's the fucking Columbus here. Columbo. One more thing, me, please. Please, Columbus. Christopher Columbus. Yes, you say more alert than before. He clicks a button, and the screen lights up. Charge pretty high, too. Probably haven't been gone for the whole week, few days at most. What about the other? You ask. You got a warrant on that? I didn't think you needed one. Glad to hear that desk job didn't melt all of your brain and put it down in your belly. Another time, please. I don't. Anything desperate enough to give Murky? You shake your head. Tempting, but not worth it. Not yet. That's everything of the things they wanted us to find anyway. Is that enough? It's a start. All that's left now is following their lead and catching up. If we can narrow when, we can narrow how. He places the phones on the desk. But what's more important than how is why. You remember your academy days? Mens rea. If we can't think like them, we can't predict their moves. Cool word. Let's go with this. Mens rea. Mens rea, the intention of or knowledge of wrongdoing that constitutes part of a crime as opposed to the action. Oh. How the hell am I going to think like them? I barely knew them, you mutter. The other musters a grunt, bending himself over the other three clues you have. 23% of runaways go more than 50 miles away from home, 9% say in state. It sounds like he did his homework. Pretty impressive given the timing, but that's why you've called him. Your net is pretty wide given your position. They know you probably would start looking for them. 70% are spur of the moment. Quick glance around the room squares that stat away. Desperate though they may feel, it seems they look. This shows that they thought it through. A plan. The moment lingers. Can you get into a phone without pulling rank? You pay for it. I can certainly try. You pick up Lucy's phone, twisting and turning the dormant device in your hand, hunting for a potential attack vector. A specific angle catches the light in such the right way to highlight a few smudges on the screen. That's not. Like, your finger overrides that when you're using the phone. Clicking the power on, you notice a smudge lining up on the one key on the password interface. Can't be that simple, can it? You poke the key until the password field is full, and the screen switches to a picture of Anon giving a thumbs up. Guess you have some brains, too. Mind if I give you some unsolicited advice? Your partner queries, sensing your surprise. Could be a lot of details in there. I don't know if you want to know all of them. We're not here to judge, we're here to help. Remember that. Yeah, of course. Text, search history, even a phone call beckons as options to explore. Violating your teenage daughter's privacy won't be the worst thing you've done so far, but it certainly won't be pleasant. If you even go through with it. This is a long-ass chapter. This is not an intermission. This is a chapter, man. Just... Oh, whoops. Be honest with yourself. Why the fuck are people posting train personas? Ugh. I demand a fat hot dog. Hold on, I need a moment. Between that and the sim, I'd say you got your hands full for a good while. Try not to get too dirty. What about you? What about me? All this stuff had to have gone somewhere. A few polite talks go a long way. Considering the locale, a bit of palm greasing would probably work better. You're going to pretend you didn't hear that last part. Ripley? What? 47% of teens that run away or were homeless indicated that conflict with their parents was the major reason that they left. I'm well aware this is my fault, Castle. Are you? Then I'm going to get to the root of it, or are we going to be back here in 6 weeks' time? You shoot him a heart-stopping glare in response, which he smirks at. Something to keep in mind. I'll call you if I need anything. If I get anything. Likewise, you grumble. He exits the room, flicking his hand in a way vaguely reminiscent of a wave. Sometimes you wish he wasn't such a pain in the ass, even if he's right. You sigh, stuffing the pair of phones into a pocket. Is this one of those situations where you would have to put them in a Faraday pouch? I don't know, it just feels like one of those situations where you want to do that. You know, for destruction commands and all that. I find it hilarious they took their fucking SIM cards with them. What a fucking loser. Don't take your SIM card with you, you clown! Jesus! Like, I've seen what they that's part of the... Not that smart, fucking idiot. It's like leaving your fucking car behind, but taking your license plate with you. What are you doing? I want to keep my license plate. It's a novelty. You sigh, stuffing the pair of phones into a pocket, then neatly folding the two pieces of paper and stowing them away in another. This, and whatever Castle can find, is all you have to go off of. They could be anywhere in the state, the world, the country, the world. Needle in a haystack can't begin to describe it. One of the phone in your pocket buzzes harshly against the others. You scramble to fish for the right one, fingers latching onto the offending device. You yank it out to see that it's yours. Your wife is calling. Why is this here? This is not his internal monologue. Why is he swearing? You said... Oh, that was a mistake. You said you would be back as soon as possible. You accept the call and put the phone to your ear. Honey? Honey? She demands, clearly upset. You're not sure how long it's been, but you know that it has been too long. I know. I'm sorry. Things took a little longer than expected. You explain. Did it go over well at least? An affirmation catches your throat. She'll find out eventually. You just wish it wasn't over the phone, but you might as well pull the trigger now. They're gone. I'm sure they're just running some errands. She'll talk to you when she's ready. You feel a pang in your heart, desperate to drop the subject now and leave her knowledge as is. You're already keeping enough secrets. They left the city, Sam. I'd go for Mantha, because it's goofy. For good, as far as I can tell. Her voice hitches, cutting off her first response. We both knew this was going to happen someday. I know, but there's still some things I need to take care of. Important things. I gotta shoot Anon, then I gotta skin him, then I gotta stuff him and put him up in my living room. Honey, you know that the cops aren't gonna be okay with that. I know you work for the department, but you can't do that to a human being. God damn it. I got that license 5 years ago and I've never been able to use it. Criminal. Please, don't make this harder than it needs to be. You can't force this. I know, but I need to get a word in. An apology, at least. It's what she deserves. She sighs, knowing you won't be changing your mind on this. Be careful, would you? That carries a lot of implications. I will. I'm on my way back. You close the apartment door behind you and lock it. Not like anyone will be using it for the foreseeable. This... Anon has given up the apartment! If it's not a crime scene, give it back, please, you Okay, we're still him for some reason. I guess because we know where Castle is already, technically. Hold on, I need a sip. I need a sip. How luxurious the water is. You slide into your chair in the study on the upper floor of your house, staring at the items before you. You place Anon's phone on the far side of your desk, hopefully far enough to resist the temptation to look through it, and place Fang's phone right in front of you. You think for a moment, then turn on your computer screen, shaking the mouse to light the screen back up. The SIM card is your first and easiest target. A quick browse to your network's provider website and a few sub-menus bring you to their locator service. Oh yeah, odds are he closed the contract, didn't he? A button sends the request. And a few seconds later, the results show up. At your current location, 1, 2, 3 devices online. The fourth device is grayed out. No location found. Guess you already used up your luck. You'll have to do this the hard way. You turn back to Fang's phone, clicking the power button and typing in the password. But where to start? Call logs, messages, personal notes, maybe internet history, search uses or current logins. There's also telemetry, installed apps and their usages. Just so many choices. Just pick one and start. You'll get around to all of them eventually, so the order doesn't really matter. You could even pick one at random. You're stalling. Come on, you need to do this. They're out there somewhere, getting tangled up in God knows what, thinking that they have each other and nothing else. You reach forward, and your chest tightens. There should be a space here. This is very much self-reflection, and this is a whole different topic for a sentence. I don't know, it gives this a bit more dramatic pause. That it's like him talking to himself, and then he's like, I have talked to myself. Okay, I don't know. Let me be. You reach forward, and your chest tightens. You relent for a moment, taking a deep breath. No matter what you do, every time you reach for that phone, your body reacts negatively. You were so sure you could do this a couple of hours ago. Why not now? Let's get some chill beats. Jesus fucking Christ, why is it so slow? The. No. This is good for an investigation. You were so sure you could do this. Why now? Really? This is like 35 seconds long? Dang. Oh. Oh, I can't access it? Fucking weirdos. Are you? Then you're gonna get to the root of it. Hey, are you? Then I get to the root of it. Oh, we're gonna be back in 6 weeks' time. What Castle said earlier slaps you in the face. Is this getting to the root of it? Blatantly disrespecting something as basic and fundamental as your daughter's privacy. She's not a drug runner or some petty thief, for God's sake. You can't do this. No matter how easy it would be or how valuable the information could be, this just isn't right. And if you really want this to go the way you want it to, you need to do it right. You sigh, placing Fang's phone next to Anon's, and shift their goodbye letters in front. How the fuck did he actually have the SIM card? Because I thought the SIM cards weren't in there. You'd still need to know, like, the SIM card numbers. I guess he could find those pretty easily, especially if he closed the contract. Which, considering, you know, adult and everything, he probably would have access to that. Like, hey, my SIM card number, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this isn't looping properly. This works a bit better. You sigh, placing Fang's phone next to Anon's and shift their goodbye letters in front of you. Mens rea, the thought behind the action. There wasn't much to go off of, but it's the best you have at the moment. You slowly and painstakingly look over every aspect of the letters, every word lashing out at your soul like fiery whips. Handwriting, word choice, content, and context, ignoring the tightening in your stomach and the sweat on your brow. Why does this narrator feel like he's trying to fuck with this man and just kick him in the dick? Hell yeah! Penis kicked. Ow! My penis! Agonizing as it was, a second and third reread combined with a recollection of your early conversation does shed some light where it's needed. Whatever it's because of the fear, whatever it's because of understanding, fear, respect, or just something else, Anna doesn't seem nearly as upset with you as Fang does. It's just a theory, but if he has as much brains as Castle says he does, they might not have gone as far as they could have. A bit of a reason to reel in the emotion, pulling them away from that 9% figure that leaves the state. And if they're not going to the Bay, they probably went somewhere affordable. That doesn't narrow it down much, but it's a start. You consider contacting her friends to see if they know anything. The purple one, although they knew each other for a long while, you recall what felt like a falling out between them. Might be worth pursuing later. The raptor boy, he showed up much later, but if he wasn't out of his mind on some unholy chemical cocktail at some point, he could know something. Nothing but mights, maybes, coulds, and a hell of a lot of work to be done. That's what you signed up for, isn't it? A phone nearby rings, and your heart skips a beat. It takes a second for you to realize the sound is coming from your pocket, meaning it's just yours again. You pick up the phone and put it to your ear. Hello? Rip! Castle responds. We got something here. Turns out these skin-row pukes love to talk when Benjamin Franklin's in the room. Already told him in a couple of hours. How long did you think I need? He chuckles. Didn't need to answer that. They didn't go far to peddle their stuff cheap at that. From what I can gather from these fine, gentle dinos, they were last seen Wednesday afternoon. So unless they took the midnight train anywhere, they left sometime in the last 24 hours. Sounds like that would make catching up easier at least. I'm sure they knew you were going to be occupied this morning. Whatever, pretty symbolic too. Creative type might appreciate that. The realization catches you off guard. You might have missed them by mere hours or minutes. Just trying to get us in their heads. Just trying to get us in their heads, he says, noting your silence. Speaking of, what do you got over on your end? SIM card's offline. But I'll keep an eye on it, but that leads cold for now. As for the letters, I think you're right about the boredom brains. Chances are they're still somewhere in the state. Probably somewhere cheap to live. Castle waits, expecting more information. And the phone? I can't do that. The bets are placed and the chips are in the pot, he says without skipping a beat. Next piece of the puzzle is how they get to where they want to go. No, it's not too far. Any guesses? Cars are hopefully out of the question. Buses and taxis wouldn't go far enough on their own. Planes would be overkill, and would be a pain to get information on. Boats or trains. How close is V-Beat Rapid Transit to Skid Row? 1 or 2 miles. If you've been thinking straight, that would have been the place to check the second you realized they were gone. At least that handily narrows it down, considering the proximity to where they sold their belongings. I'll let you take care of that one. I need to get my things together and follow the trail. Leverage that honesty and desperation you got going on. Who knows? You might just get lucky. I think I used up all my luck. Gambler's fallacy, Rip. You can never be too lucky. With that, I wish you good luck. You could practically hear him smirking over the phone as he hangs up. You stow the phone away and lean back in your chair. You aren't exactly a detective, but there's not much choice in the matter. How to approach it, though? Start with a badge, bring it in later, or leave it out entirely? How heavy to lean on the missing child angle? She's an adult. This is kind of weird, if anything, but I get the point. Moreover, how many trains out of the city have left in the last 24 hours? Will it even matter if you give them a name and they give back a destination? Minimum wage workers don't exactly tend to be the inquisitive type. Don't get ahead of yourself, though. Still up in the air. First order of business is getting there. Friday afternoon traffic. Not exactly a pleasant experience. Trio of knocks on your study door interrupt your planning. You can tell that it's Nasser, and more importantly, it was plain as day that Samantha told him what happened. He wasn't exactly taking the news well. Come in. Nasser opens the door and steps into the room. His face is everything, and his voice manages to save it. That's what voices do. That's such a goofy line. I love it. I love it, though. It's so goofy. It's the right kind of goofy. Get in there, Goofy. Hell yeah.